Welcome to Tsama Nafshi. And we are holding in Bava Kama, Mem Hey, Amid Aleph. And we finished the explanation over here of the machlokes between Rabbanan and Rabbi Yaakov, Al Pi Rashi, in regard to the din of when the shor is made a niskal, and then the shomer gives it back after the shor has been made a niskal to the bailing. Machlokes Rabbanan and Rabbi Yaakov. The Rabbanan say he's chayiv. It's not a good chazara that he gave him back the animal that was asur b'hano after it's been made a niskal. And Rabbi Yaakov says that it's a good chazara, muksar. And so Roy wanted to know who's the halacha follow. The halacha follows the Rabbanan, because the yesod of the machlokes is ein gomrim dinoi. According to the Rabbanan, ein gomrim dino shel shor el b'fanav. And Rabbi Yaakov holds no, even shalom b'fanav, it could be gomer the din on the shore. Okay, so that's where we got up to. Now the Gemora is going to go into the reasons for why Rabbanan hold what they hold and what Rabbi Yaakov holds what he holds. Let's go from there. My time out the Rabbanan, asked the Gemora. It's about a little bit further down than halfway down on the Amud. First word of the line is Nigmar Habu Gamrele Medina. Oh, actually we didn't read those words of Rabbi Yaakov. Let's go to Rabbi Yaakov Savar. In other words, the Rabbanan said that the bailim could say to the shomer that you caused me a loss. It's not a good chazara that you made now because why? Because you actively were mazik the value of my animal by giving it over the yadayim to the bezdin to be given over to be made a shor muad. Whereas Rabbi Yaakov, that's not a svara. What does Rabbi Yaakov say? Let's read what Rabbi Yaakov said. Rabbi Yaakov Savar. This is just a couple lines before that. L'shtuye dina v'hadei. That's the beginning of the line. Rabbi Yaakov Savar. Roy, you see the place? First word in the line is the ashtuye dina v'hadei. Right in the middle of the Amud.
Oh, I see.
And we're starting with Rabbi Yaakov Savar. Want to just read the words in the Gemora? You have the words in the Gemora?
So Yaakov Soha Gomerin, Dino, Shor, Shilo, Pino, Paniv, Dama, Le, Sof, Migma, Avo, Gomri, Le, Yadina, Le, Tame, Derabano.
Okay, that's it. That's the statement of Rabbi Yaakov. So Rabbi Yaakov holds, not like Rabbanan, he says that the Bezdin has the authority to be gomer the din, to hand down the verdict on the shore, try the case and hand down the verdict on the shore to be an iskil, even shelo b'fonov, even if the animal would not be before the Bezdin. So if so, it's inconsequential, really, that the shomer actively gave over the animal to the Bezdin. That wasn't the cause of any hezek that the animal suffered. Because in any case, the Bezdin could have tried the case and passed down the verdict, even if the animal had not been handed over. The Amr Lei, so therefore he says to him, Sof. Ultimately, at the end of the matter, Migmar Habu Gamri Ledina. The Bezdin handed down the verdict on your animal. The Bezdin was the one that did it. They would have been able to do so even had I not handed over even though I did hand over the animal to them. And therefore I have caused you no damage, and therefore I have no liability to you. I have no liability to you. Let's see Rashi. Sof migbar have gamre le ledine.
So
Phil.
Finally, we finished the din. Gimel gamre finished for the dini. Therefore, below hizet and the there wasn't any damage by itself automatically. No, there was damage automatically. The lobby them, not by the fact that you handed over my hand, not by your hands. You didn't do anything.
Yeah.
It's happened by itself.
Below be a dime. So therefore, the way Rashi explains, according to Rabbi Yaakov, because Rabbi Yaakov holds that the animal could be paskin niskal even if it's not befonov before the bezdin. This case is exactly the same thing in the halacha as the case of the gazlan that stole the chametz on Pesach before Pesach, right? Over there, the gazlan, he stole the chametz, but what was it that caused the chametz to become aser b'hana? Had nothing to do with the gazlan. That was a dvar de memela. That's the chok of the Torah that erev Pesach, the chametz becomes aser b'hana. So now, since he the gazlan didn't mazik the chametz biyadayim, so he's potter on that din, and he's allowed to make a chazorah even though the chametz is aser b'hana. So too over here, it's the same exact thing. The shomer, his giving over the animal was not the cause of the bezdin paskening that the animal was an iskal, because even had he not handed over the animal, the bezdin would have been able to paskin that the animal was an iskal. It has the witnesses, it has the evidence, and even if the animal would be in Timbuktu, the bezdin would have been able to paskin, because according to Rabbi Yaakov, he holds that gomrim dino shor afilu shelo b'fanav. So therefore, even after the shore has now been made a niskal and it's aser b'hana, therefore the shomer is able to make a valid return of the animal now. Because remember, both we said both Rabbanan and Rabbi Yaakov hold that the shomer can give back the animal even though it's aseh b'hana. Okay. So that's the end of that case. Oh, now the Gemora is going to go into the reasoning behind Rabbanan and Rabbi Yaakov. So let's go. We have a few more lines until we get to the end of this sugya. My time of the Rabbanan, Rabbi Chio.
My time the Rabbanan. השור יסקר וגם בעליו ימת. כמיתת הבעלים, כך מיתות השור. מה הבעלים בפניהם? אף שור בפניו.
Yeah. So the Gemora asks, my time of the Rabbanan. What's the reasoning for the Rabbanan? What's the reasoning for the Rabbanan that what? Not what we wanted to know, not what everybody here wanted to know the other day. Why is it that the guy can make, the shomer can make a chazorah of the article that was entrusted to him, even though it's now worthless, and beforehand it was not? That's not what the Gemora is interested in dealing with at this point. The Gemora wants to know about because in truth, both Rabbanan and Rabbi Yaakov hold that is so. It could make such a return. It's considered to be a valid return of the article. Why that is? Gemora is not getting into that right now, at least. But what the Gemora does want to know is why do the Rabbanan hold that the Bezdin cannot paskin on the animal if it's not b'fanav? Why is that so? Where do they get that from? So, what does the Gemora say?
We learned beforehand that
Yeah.
in skila in kofar, that's what we're not talking about. That's not talking about.
Hashor yisakel v'gam balav yumas.
Right.
So that's kofar. The imat that's talking about kofar, right?
Yeah, but it's like
Main kofar in skila.
it's
So if not this, not this.
it's connecting the shore with the balim, that they're sort of it's the same concept. So that's what he's trying to get here. The next case, the shore, it says the shore is scale, right? The shore's going to keep going, and the balim is going to get his punishment kofar, right? That we said. But that only is
So
a
you mat,
time.
it doesn't say kofar,
But well, you might the kofar is the comb in comb die. But then it's saying that now the connection though is the mitas abalim kach mitas ashur. So just like the death of the person would be the death of the shore. They have to go together.
That's we learned in skila in kofar. In kofar in yesh kofar is skila.
Right, but the mob bifnim, just like you can't give misa to a person unless he's in front of them, in front of the court. The shore has to be before them. So that's the connection.
Goes together.
They're going together. You can't do the balim have to be bifnim in order for there to be a penalty on the balim. It's the same way with the shore. They're linking the two together.
This what the Gemora is saying over here to explain the Rabbanan is called a hekesh. A hekesh means that the din of the shore is mentioned in this pasuk right next to the din of the bailim, the din of the person. First, the pasuk mentions the din of the shore. Hashor yisakel. That's the pasuk talks about the din of the shore. And then right in the next few words, v'gam bailav yumas. And so too the din of the bailim is what it is. So what do we see from there? That's called a hekesh. The fact that the pasuk is bringing the din of the shore together with the din right next to the din of the adam, the Gemora says that's noteworthy. We see that the pasuk is making a legal comparison between the din of the shore and the din of the adam. That's called a hekesh.
Hekesh means noteworthy.
A legal comparison.
Legal comparison.
Hekesh. That's the hekesh. And so we say this tells us that the din of the shore is going to be the same as the din of the adam. So what is the din of the adam? Well, the din of the adam, says the Gemora, everybody agrees to that the adam cannot, his din of misa cannot be unless he is before the bezdin. Right? The Gemora says, "Kamisas abaylim, kak misas ashor." The halachas, the rules of jurisprudence, if you will, of the misa of the adam, when there's a death penalty case on the adam, they will the death penalty case against the shore will be judged only according to the same rules as the adam. So ma bailim, just like the bailim, just like the adam, the rule is bifneihem. We cannot pass down a sentence of misa against the adam unless the adam is there bifneihem. That's based upon another pasuk. V'lo yamus harotzeach ad omdu lifnei ha'eda lemishpat. We cannot give misa to the murderer until he stands before the judges in the din. Offshore. So too, we will say, based upon this pasuk here that makes the hekesh, that the shore's din will be the same. B'fanav. We'll need the animal to be here in order to pass down a sentence of skila on the animal. Okay, let's see. That's the Rashi. The pasuk. Rashi quotes the pasuk from where we know that the adam has this din. Only b'fanav. Till ma balim b'fneihem.
Ma balim b'fneihem, just that the balim have to be in front of them. The pasuk said, ad amdu lifnei ha'eda l'mishpat. That it's written until they stand in front of the testimony for a judgment.
We're talking about the balabait, not talking about the shore, right?
Right. Yeah.
Right.
So that's why the balabait has to be the theme. So since the balabait has to be in front of the judges, that means that the shore has to be in front of the judges. That's what Bava said.
Okay, offshore the fanav also has to be before the bezdin. The bezdin cannot be gomer the din on the shore unless the shore is before the bezdin. Okay. So that's very clear. That sounds like Rabbanan have a very good source. So what is Rabbi Yaakov gonna say over here? Why does he say that no, it's not necessary? Let's take a look at Rabbi Yaakov now.
מה בעלה בפני אף שור בפניו, ורבי יעקב ושלמה בעלים בפני בני טענה. מנהו. אלא שור בר טענתהו.
Okay. Rabbi Yaakov.
That's like a rhetorical question there.
Bishlema bailim. It's understood in regard to the din of the person that he has to be b'fanav. That's what it says in the pasuk. I'm not arguing with that, says Rabbi Yaakov. But the reason why we have to explain the reason for why the din is, why the pasuk says that the owner, not the owner. We're not talking. He's not on trial for murder. But a person who would be on trial for murder, when we say bailim over here, don't get mixed up. We don't mean that the owner of this animal is on trial for murder. We're talking about a case when a person would be liable for murder. And the truth is, when an animal kills, the person is never on trial for murder. So it's a little interesting why the Gemora says bailim over here. It's not really the bailim is on trial for murder. Bailim, b'nei tana ninhu. They can open up their mouth and make a tana. They could make a claim of defense, give an alibi. Yes, I was over in Los Angeles at the time of this murder that took place in New York. I wasn't there at all. So he can open up his mouth. B'nei tana ninhu. So therefore, Rabbi Yaakov is explaining that's the reason why the pasuk that Rashi brought us says that the Bezdin cannot be gomer the din of Misa on the Bailim unless he is bifneim, unless he's before the judges, because we want to hear from him if he has have anything to say to defend himself. El Ashur, but a shor. In this case of a shor nisko, Bar Tanasahu. Is he someone that can open up his mouth and defend himself to the Bezdin and make an alibi? What's he going to say? Boo. So therefore, explains Rabbi Yaakov, it doesn't make any sense that the animal has to be in front of the Bezdin. What's the in other words, he agrees with this hekesh. But in this case, it doesn't make any sense to say that the Torah requires the animal be b'fanav because of this hekesh. Doesn't make any sense. Okay. Okay, good. Right, good. Okay, let's go weiter. Now, so that's the two dots over here. That's the end of this subject. Yeah, I think what I said is what Tos is saying over here. Dibur Maskil Ella, the little tiny Tosus on the. There's 3 tiny Tosusim at the bottom of the Yamud. Dibur Maskil Ella. Ella sure Bar Tanasahu. Tosus says, Vafilu Darshinin Ba'alma. The Mises is Bailim, Kak Misa Shor. Even though we generally, Ba'alma, we generally do darshan this drasha of Kamisas Bailim, Kak Misas Ashur. Don't be mistaken. Rabbi Yaakov agrees to that drasha. Rabbi Yaakov agrees to that drasha. Misas Ashur, Bailim, Kak Misas Ashur. He's not arguing that drasha. But how do you apply it? Where do you apply it? This is the issue. Lahach Milsa, in regard to this matter of the din of B'fanav, that the defendant has to be b'fnei the Bezdin, ain't svora l'darsho. There's no svora. It doesn't make any sense to darshan it for this din over here. So therefore he holds that we don't have any requirement that the animal be before the Bezdin. Bezdin can paskin on the animal even if the Bezdin is not the fun of. Okay. 2 dots. Let's go. Bezrat Hashem. Let's go further in the Gemora. We have plenty of time. Roy, you want to start us off? Masru l'shomer chinam l'shol. Now, this takes us back to the Mishnah. This is a quote from the Mishnah, right? Just want to take a look at the words of the Mishnah, where this Mishnah is. This is a Mishnah at the bottom of Mem Daled Amid Beis. It's the Seifa of the Mishnah. The Reish of the Mishnah reads, Shor shehu yotze lisakel, ekdishu ba'alav, eno mukdash. Shor is being taken out to the Beis HaSkila to be given skila, and the owner is makdish the animal, Eino Mukdash. Not effective. He has no dominion over the animal after it's already been paskin. It's out of his reshus now, so he cannot make it hektish. Shachtu basaro asur. And if he shechs it at this time, the meat is likewise asur. But if before the bezdin paskins the din, hektishu balav mukdash, the hektish will be effective, and the shechting of the animal will be effective, and the animal meat will be mutar. And now we get to the seifa. Is what the Gemora is going to mention right now. Masru l'shomer chinam. He gives it over to a shomer chinam, u'l'shoel, or he lends it to a borrower, the animal, l'nosei sachar, or to a renter. He rents the animal for a price. U'l'socher, or maybe Nosei Sachar is a paid custodian, and the Socher is the renter. So these are basically your 4 Shomrim. Nichnasu Takas HaBailim. They enter in the place of the Bailim. Rashi says, what does that mean? That the Mishayvin, the Nezikin, they are going to be now responsible for nezik that the animal does, just like the owner would be, if the animal would be in the reshus of the owner, the physical reshus of the owner. Now, the first, let's take a look at the first Rashi on the Mishnah. Masru l'shomer chinam. Phil, you want to read that? Masru l'shomer chinam.
The Mishnah?
Yeah.
Ad Shalom Nagach. He gave it to him before he gored. He didn't give it to him after he gored.
Before he gored, he gave it to him.
He gave it to him before it was a goring out. The law of Rashid, it's not going on the first part. This is like an independent matter from another matter. This is. So I'm saying this part of the Mishnah has nothing to do with the first part of the Mishnah.
Right. The first part of the Mishnah was discussing a shore that was being taken out to the base Haskila after being paskin the niska, or before it was paskin on him. But in any case, the Rish was talking after the animal had already done the damage. And Rashi says, the Sefer, however, is talking Ad Shelo Naga. It was given over to the custodian to watch and guard before it gored anybody.
Before it gored this new case, it's possible that it could have been labeled a muad and gored other things. But until this is now before a new situation.
Okay. So the din in the Mishnah is in other words, so even though this custodian did not watch him until now, if the animal is already a muad, the payment that he's going to have to pay if the animal gores the 4th time now, by in his under his watching, is a nezik shalom, because he's getting a shore muad. So if it does damage, he's going to pay nezik shalom for the damage. We're not talking about a case where he gored and killed over here. We're talking about he did property damage or personal injury, but not causing the death of a person. So he'll have to pay nezik shalom. If the animal was a tam, he'll only have to pay katsi nezik. That's what we mean. Niknisu takas habaylim. He steps into the shoes of the bailim, just like the bailim would have to pay a nezik shalom over here because the animal is a muad. so too the shomer is going to have to pay nesek shalim because the animal is a muad, even though the shomer was not entrusted to watch the animal before now. Okay. Okay, so let's go back. That's the Mishnah. Let's now go to the Gemora on Mem Hey Amud Aleph. See what the Gemora wants to talk about. Tana Rabbanan. Okay, so Roy is up.
Rabbanim, Abba, Nivusu, Tachais, Habalim. The rabbi said that 4 people take the place of the owner. Eloheim, and they are Shomer, Hinam, Vahashor, Nosesh, Sachar, Vahashukra.
Socher.
They are an unpaid shomer, a borrower, and a paid shomer and a renter.
Right. Those are the 4 shomer. All of them have an obligation to guard the animal from doing damage. And they step into the shoes of the owner in regard to that matter of being liable for damages. Okay, let's go further in the brisa. Hargu.
Hargu, a killed person. Tamin, Neragin, Ufatarin, in a kapeh. And it's killed a person. So if it was a tam, it is put to death, and the shomer are exempt from the kofar.
Okay.
Muadin, Nehugin, Mashalmin, is a kofar. If it was a muad, then it's put to death, and the shomrim pay the kofar. And they pay the kofar. Chayavein, Lahazir, Remain Sure, Libalov, Chutz, Meshumer, Chinom, and they're obliged to return the value of the executed ox to its owner, with the exception of the unpaid shomer, who is not so obliged.
Chayav lahachzir demei shor lebailo. So since the animal was niskal, unlike the previous case that we had between Rabbanan and Rabbi Yaakov, where the shomer hurried to give the animal back to the owner, and the Bezdin did not stone the animal yet. Here, Bezdin stoned the animal. So now the shomer is going to be chayav to give demei shor to the owner, because he did not return the shor to him. Chutz mishomer chinam. Shomer chinam is going to be exempt. He's going to be exempt from having to pay for the shore. Okay. We have no Rashi. Okay, very good. So that's what it says in the brisa. That's what it says in the brisa. Let's go further in the Gemora. Amre. You want to continue, Roy?
Omre, KV, Demay. What are we talking about? What's the case? E, the Natreya. If the Shomer guarded the ox, Apilu, Kulahu, Nami, Liftaru, and even all the other Shom, and even all of the other Shomrim should also be exempt. From reimbursing.
What could they do? They gave a proper guardian of the animal, and nevertheless they gave what's called the Shmira Mu'ula. They gave a very good watching and guarding of the animal, and nevertheless the animal he got out and he did what he did. So in that case, says the Gemora, if that's what we're talking about in this brisa, afilu kulu, nami liftar, then even all of them should be patur. Why does the brisa say only the shomer chinam is going to be patur? Says Rashi, Phil, kulu nami niftaru.
Well, the Enid traces the Shmira Mugla, that is a good guardian. Kulu nami, they should all be patur. Midnei shore from the paying off of the shore. Bar Mishol. This is like except for.
Yeah, Rashi is saying that there's really an exception to what the
Gemora
Gemora says
not
here.
even Kulu. It's Kulu except for the borrower.
Right.
A new sim hay that it's to those it's considered on us. It's like an unavoidable mishap, an accident. Now, since it's an accident, if it's an accident,
Yeah.
that also got off the other two. That also got off the renter and the paid guardian. But the borrower, he's the one getting all the benefit from it, so he even has to pay for an onus.
A shomer,
A shower.
Rashi says, is chayiv in onsim. The anusim hay, says Rashi. He doesn't mention the halacha that a show is chayiv in onsim, but
but by saying this, it says that the other ones, it's considered onus on those of the other one, on the other cases, except for the shower.
Yeah. The shoel, he's got the highest level of liability because he is taking the animal to use as he wishes, whoever he wants to do with the animal, and he doesn't have to pay anything at all. Kol hana shelo. So he's got a high level of liability corresponding to the high level of benefit that he gets from the usage of the animal. The other ones, they don't really have any benefit from the animal. They don't have any right to. Well, the renter has a right to use the animal also, but he's got to pay for it. So he's not going to be liable for an onus. And the other two, they don't have any right to use the animal. They're only obligated to watch the animal. And they're not allowed to use it, so they don't have any benefit really from the animal, other than the fact that the paid shomer, he gets paid to guard the animal. That can't actually use the animal. So the shomer, he's got all the benefits, all the usage that he wants, and he's not paying anything for it. And so therefore he's got the highest level of liability. He's chayiv even for an onus. But the other three are not chayiv for an onus. It's considered to be an onus if the shomer gave a shmira ma'ula, a very good guardian of the animal, and nevertheless the animal got out. That's considered to be an onus. Like it's how do you describe what an onus is?
An unavoidable accident.
Unavoidable accident. Okay, very good.
Something beyond control.
He's not at fault for what happened over here. But the shoel, it's not a matter of whether he's at fault or not. He's liable. That's the terms of his. That's the terms of his borrowing. Something to keep in mind when you borrow something from somebody. Okay. So that's the Gemara's question.
That's half the question.
Yeah.
That's question.
If-
Yeah, question will. If you say it's a good gardening, you're in that case. Which the Kulu is just really adding on two more cases to the Shomer. You're
Yeah.
adding on two more cases to the beyond the Shomer Chinon. You're adding on the.
So according to this, what the Gemora is asked now, we don't understand why the Bryce over here has singled out the Shomer Chinam for exemption of liability. Okay, so now let's read the other half of the question. Read the Lo Natre. Hi Lou, we're on Mem Hey, and
this price of the four.
yeah.
Yeah.
We read the Brisa. The Brisa says that if the animal does damage and he kills and he gets stoned, so the shomer who's now taken over as the guardian of the animal, he's going to be liable to pay for the value of the animal, except a shomer chinam.
I see it. Yes.
So the Gemora is wondering what exactly is the case where we find that the three shomrim are going to be liable to pay for the value of the animal, and the shomer chinam is going to be exempt. So if we say that they gave a shmira ma'ula, a very good shmira, so it doesn't make sense, says the Gemora. All of them should be exempt, with the exception of the shoah, not just the shomer chinam. Now we go to the other side of the question. V'ida lo yinatre.
So should I read?
Okay, you can read.
If he did not guard it for guarding,
Yeah.
afilu shomer chinam ni chavein. Even the guard who guards for free should have to pay. Should be
Nichayev.
liable.
Yeah, he should be liable. So this question over here, what the Gemora is saying, Hekidami, is really what we call a Nafshi. However you look at this case, we don't understand the din of the Brisa. We can't understand why the din of the Brisa is that the Shomer Chinam is going to be exempt and all the other ones are going to be liable. If they all guarded properly, the din doesn't make sense. If they didn't guard properly, the din doesn't make sense. So what's going on, says the Gemara.
Amr, they said, Hacha b'mayaskinin. In this case, with what are we dealing with? To not ray shmira pehusa, that he guarded with a not complete guardian. Velo natre shmira ma'ula. And he did not guard with a superior guardian.
Right.
So some kind of a lesser guardian.
Right. There's different. What's called guarding. Shmira. There's two grades of guarding. Right. Like 2 grades of gasoline. You got regular and premium. So here we got 2 grades of guarding. We're grading the guarding that he did. One guarding is a shmira ma'ula. That's what the Gemara's question was based on. That's a superior guarding. He did everything that was required of him to guard the animal, and nevertheless the animal got out and gored. That's what the question was. Now the Gemara is answering, but no, that's not what the Brisa is talking about. The Brisa is talking about that the shomer in the Brisa made a shmira pehusa. Shmira pehusa, from the word pachot, less than a perfect shmira. We can't say that he didn't guard it at all, but we can't say that he guarded it as he was really supposed to do so. So this is a minimal guarding that was given. So what are the dinim on in this case?
Shomer chinim kalsa lo shmirasa. The shomer chinim has guarded well, properly. Says he discharged his obligation.
Since he's not being paid in any case, right? It said, here, take this animal and watch it for me. And he said, okay. So the guarding that he is required to give to avoid liability is a shmir pechusa.
Was they paid for their level of guardianship?
Not paid anything. Shomer China means he's not paid anything.
I'm sorry, they weren't paid. Right, were they expected to originally, when the owner handed over the animal, did he say, I'll just give it a shomer b'chutza, or...
He didn't say anything.
He didn't say anything.
He didn't say anything.
Okay.
Without saying anything, the rule is that the shomer is required, even if he's not paid, to guard a minimal guarding. So he discharged his duty. That's what he was. He was not required by the halacha to do any more than that. Kol salo shmirasai. He did the guarding that he was required to do. We don't regard him to do a full guarding. After all, he wasn't paid at all for his services.
Hanach lo kalsa shmirasa, but the others, it's not considered to be a good guardian.
Oh, by the other three, the shoel, the borrower, and the paid custodian, and the renter, all three of them, they are required to guard. They're expected to guard. The halacha requires them to guard, without the owner saying anything to them, a superior guardian, a complete guardian. So lo kol shmirosa. The shmir that they gave was not sufficient. Yeah, and so therefore they'll be liable, even though they did guard the animal somewhat. They'll be liable when the animal gets out and gores.
Sorry, so that if the owner said, I want you to do a superior guarding...
Again, we're not talking about that case. We're talking about a case that nothing was said. Nothing was said.
Right. Okay.
The halacha is, without any agreement on their part, that if he's paid for his services, or he has the use of the animal, either one, or if he has both of them, all the more so, like a shoel. He's got his requirement is he's got to guard shmira mu'ula. The owner of the animal doesn't have to say, and make sure you guard him a shmira mu'ula, even if he says nothing. But Masha'en Kain, the shomer china, he doesn't have any right to use the animal, and he also is not getting paid, so he doesn't have really any benefit from the fact that this task has been heaped on him. He truly agreed to do it. So that will obligate him to guard at least a shmir pokusa, a not complete, perfect guarding, but he does have to guard somewhat. So if, says the Gemora, we're talking about a case where he guarded a shmir pokusa, so that'll exempt him from liability. That's why the Brisa says that the shomer china is exempt from liability, but the other three are liable. HaKodesh v'sameya. To you and your family. Koshin Freilich of Yom Tov. Okay.
Amrei, they said, come on, who says? Rabbi Meir. If it is Rabbi Meir who says this, Da'amar Socher B'Shomer Chinam Dami
Kishomer Chinam.
Kishomer Chinam Dami. That he says the renter and the guard who guards for free also should be similar.
He says that they're comparable. They have the same din. The din of the socher should be the same as that of the shomer china.
So therefore, it can't be Rabbi Meir who says that it's 3 and 1.
Right. Because what should the din have been according to Rabbi Meir?
that the Shomer Chinam and the Socher can guard with the lesser guardian.
Right.
And therefore, neither of them would have to pay.
Well, right. The Brisa should have had to say that also the Socher would have been Potter. Very good.
Lishnei Chutz
He Rebbe Yehuda. Oh, okay, fine. Sorry. You're going to read read that part because we didn't read it yet.
Lishnei Chutz mi Shomer Chinam v'hasocher.
Right.
Oh, I see. That's this completion. Let the Brisa say, except for the unpaid guardian and the renter.
Right. And it didn't do that.
V'ika Rebbe Yehuda. So let's say it's not Rebbe Meir, but it's Rebbe Yehuda who states our din of 3-1. Da'amar socher ki no say sachar dami. He says that a renter is like a no say sachar. I don't know what that is. No say.
He's carrying the wages over here literally. He's guarding and he's going to get paid for the guarding.
Oh, so a renter and a paid guard are the same.
Right.
Renter and a paid
He says
guard.
a renter and a paid guardian have the same din.
Okay. So that sounds good. Nisnei chutz mishomer chinam v'chulan. So in that case, let the Brisa say, oh, there's more. V'mu'adin p'turin l'inyan kofir. So let the Brisa state, with the exception of the unpaid shomer, which is what it says, and all of the shomrim, if the oxen are mu'adin, are exempt in regard to kofir. So it would have had to say something more? Is that what it's saying? Would it say also talk about kofir?
Right. It wouldn't have been sufficient to simply say, what did the Brisa say? The Brisa said, if the animal killed, if it's a tam, we kill the animal, and there's a patur from kofir. That would be if the animal was a tam. But if it was a muad, what's the din? The animal's nerag, okay. Mishalmi masa kofir. They have to pay kofir. And chayovim, and the shomer would be liable to return the may hashur to the owner, except for the shomer chinam, who would not be liable to pay.
Right. So it says they would all be obligated for kofir, and now it's complaining and saying that it should be that
they would all be patur from kofir.
They're exempt.
Kulam b'muad. In regard to the din of muad, when we said over there that there's a chiyuv to pay the kofir, we were talking about the shomer. Would have to pay for the kofir.
Right.
And now we're saying that if it would be like Rabbi Yehuda, that a socher has got a din like a nosei sachar, so the Brisa would have had to say that in regard to the din of kofir, if the animal was a muad, they'd be patur. Why would they be patur? The animal Gordon killed the 4th time. Why would they all be patur?
I don't know. I was going to ask you.
They would all be patur because
Rabbi Yehuda says that a lesser guarding is sufficient for a muad.
Yeah, this is not so. That must be.
It's an unstated.
It's not so clear from
fact.
what the Gemora said over here about Rabbi Yehuda. He said the din of the socher is going to be comparable to the din of the. In other words, the din of the renter is going to be comparable to the din of the of the paid custodian. Okay, so we're gonna have to see what the how if Rashi's gonna explain for us that point. We got a lot of Rashis to do over here to understand. But that's the general idea over here. It doesn't. What it says in the Brisa doesn't work according to Reb Meir, and it also doesn't work according to Rabbi Yehuda. Should have had to say something different according to both of them. Okay. Shkoya. All the best.
Friday.